Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spiritism at Noon. We are currently studying the book Empty Lives by Joanna de Angelis, a psychography of Divaldo Franco. And we are in chapter 19. I'm going to share the screen now. Okay. It is, as always, a very good chapter and quite a long one. So we will read a little bit and then we will stop for comments. Weariness in the good. You complain about the laws of strength invading you, and you cannot explain the reason for this bitter occurrence. You wonder how it is possible that in dedicating yourself to the good, you are the target of aggressive bad spirits who wear you out with the deleterious energies. You complain that your surrender to the work of love advocated by the gospel does not defend you from the negative influences of torments that assault you, that assault your mental home and befuddle your thoughts from time to time. You wonder at the anxiety and continuous irritation that you so often feel. You find that on certain days your courage and your moral forces are at the limit. You persist in carrying out your duties. Nevertheless, you suffer the stings of unjustifiable animosity against almost everything and everyone. You are surprised to find all your efforts at good behavior seem futile, and you come to the false conclusion that the results you reap for doing the right thing are not what you expected, so you experience the temptation to surrender, to disenchantment, to despair. I believe that from time to time we all feel this way, like, oh my God, I've been trying so hard. I'm doing my best. I do so much good. I've been curving my bad inclinations, but it seems not to be enough. I think one of the reasons why we feel this way is because many times, we bring within us from the collective memory, if we want to say that, but also, in relation to our previous incarnations, we have been, we were belonging to certain religions or philosophies that would say that when everything in your life is good is because God loves you and because you are a good person. That's always the idea also of punishment. And because we do know that we cannot, because it is still not within us to become perfect or perfected spirits, of course we are doing things that we should be doing or thinking, and there is so much for us to learn. So unconsciously speaking, we think we deserve punishment, but at the same time, as soon as we try to amend ourselves, it seems that the first thing that we are going to do is to believe, to have doubts about the existence of God. A merciful and just, and sometimes we forget about the just, all right, God. And this is what Joanna de Angelis is going to be talking about today. Recognizing that this is something that I believe everyone goes through from time to time. Even if you are able to just, immediately dismiss that idea from you, it always comes on the back of your mind, oh my God, but why am I going through so much struggles when I'm trying to be so good? And this is what she's going to be trying to explain to us. So I'll read a bit more and then we stop for comments, okay? You know that noble actions have equivalent effects. Even so, you experience malaise and annoyance. You observe other people whose conduct is frivolous, who are far from abiding by the rules or other Christian attributes, but who seem happy and joyful, living in a constant party atmosphere. However, that only seems to be the case. They are not as blissful as you might suppose in your superficial appraisal. They use social networks and exhibit what they would like to be, projecting illusions and engaging in pathological self-promotion, which are psychological escape mechanisms for surviving loneliness, frustrations, and other conflicts. Imagine the situation of patients undergoing treatment. Now imagine the situation of the same patients not receiving treatment. If their ailments are not attenuated by receiving treatments, they will get even worse without it. What you see as being harmful and disturbing within yourself has deeper roots than you think, and its manifestations are much less harmful than you think. Where the occurrences that lack the contribution of duty to mitigate them, you would lapse into unimaginable affliction, fatigue, or hostility. Certainly, not everyone who toils in recovery can manage as you do. Some fall into the intricate webs of anguish and stop moving forwards. Others revolt and abandon the excellent opportunities for rebuilding their lives. It's interesting as well because the more we read those the spirit authors, and of course Joanna de Angelis, when we look at the way she communicates with us, the reader, it is personal. And here, she is declaring to us, you that is going to all those toils, all those difficulties, you can manage. Not everyone can manage as you do. Why? Because of course, if we are reading this book, if you are studying this book, it's because we are already looking for, enlightenment, to have a broader view of our role in the world and our role as immortal spirits. And many times, as she says here, when we look around, and again, we are dazzled by the world of illusions, it seems that some people are just having fun. No one likes to be advertising their hard times, right? And sometimes even when the person really is living such a joyful time, we don't know, maybe that person had a miserable year. That was the only few days that the person was possible, to take a vacation, to enjoy the company of friends, to go to a nice husband after striving a whole year looking for a job, and now finally I have money to have to celebrate. We don't know. And this is what she's saying. We are in a world of trials and atonements. Okay, changing to a world of regeneration, but we're still in transition. So everyone goes through something, and sometimes I think it's much more than we think. And especially the more stoic the soul, the more we learn and understand, the less we complain. But it doesn't mean that because we are not complaining all the time, it is because everything is peachy, or so here she says that many people have this necessity of externalize their wishes, but in fact they are feeling very lonely, and they may be going through very, very difficult things. But as she says here, you who are reading that, studying, trying to get into deep into this reflection, it is because you are better equipped. And as we know, like she says here, we need treatment. And sometimes the medicine, it may seem a bit bitter at the first, but it's the one that is going to bring us health. And what really is, can we say about, considering eternity, right? A few years of bitter medicine just to be in a much better situation later on. So I would like to see if you have any comments or questions. Yeah, Soraya?
Oh, yeah. I have a question. There's something happened the other day. I was coming out my building and this lady stopped me. Very nice young lady. She must have been in her early 30s, maybe late 30s. And she stopped me, and we always say hello and goodbye. She seems to be a very sweet person. And she asked me this question. She said, I am so unhappy. I don't understand why life is, I'm going through so much trouble and pain. She kind of shocked me in a way that, a person that we're just friends, we say hello and goodbye when we see each other. But she stopped me and she asked me this question. And like we're just studying here that no one seems to be what they are trying to show us that they're not. But this person in the opposite, she comes to me and asks me, I am so unhappy. And so it was shocking and kind of, I didn't really know, I couldn't get into religion and none of that. I just told her to be strong and that you'll be fine. I mean, what could I have told her in a situation like this? This was just opposite of what you're just explaining.
Mm-hmm.
She was going through a lot of pain and suffering. And I told her a couple of words and we kind of touched each other. But I still feel that I didn't tell her enough. And when I do see her again, because it's a hello and goodbye in the elevator outside, coming in and out of the building, how much could you say? Mm-hmm. So this is just the opposite of what Joanna de Angelis is saying, that many go through life showing that they're great and happy and everything is great, which in life it's not. We go through tribulations, and this is what we're here for. This is what life is all about. So what could have been said at that moment that was so quickly asked from this beautiful person?
I think, Soraya, first of all, it was not by chance that she said that to you. Okay, I'm sure her guardian angel was at work at the time, because it would get into, years that would somehow be comforting to her. Another thing that we can think about is that the same process that we have in therapy, when sometimes we don't want to hear anything, we just need to say out loud, and the catharsis, just by saying out loud is good. I think you did very good, because that was not the appropriate time to come and start preaching.
Right. No.
So we have to be very sensitive to that, especially because we never know whether the person professes any kind of religion or not, and that would not be the ideal thing to do.
Yes.
And the only thing that I would do, not different at the moment, uh, uh, um, um, is that if you have a chance,
Yes.
try to follow up, try to see if you meet her, or even if you ring her or knock at her door and say, I just came to tell you that I'm here if you need. I'm at apartment XXX,
Yeah.
and just let her know that what she said didn't go through deaf ears,
Okay.
and that she can have a door. And another thing that we should never do in situations like that, because as normally we think that the world revolves around us. Oh, imagine I'm also, going through so much stuff. I mean, that was her moment, not yours,
Right.
to
Absolutely.
burden yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And also things like, oh, the whole world is suffering.
No.
Like, it's very insensitive of our part to say that. We are not competing, or it's not because everyone is going through stuff that I need or I want to go through stuff as well.
Yeah.
So to say things like, oh, everyone is suffering, okay. I'm not
No.
talking about everyone, I'm talking about what I need now and how I'm feeling.
Exactly.
So, but I think you did very good. The only thing that I would do now was try to just say, try to reach out
Right. Okay.
and just say, hi, how are you doing today? And I'm here for you whenever you need.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Yes. I will. Thank you, Jusada. Very good.
yeah. Because like Joanna de Angelis is saying here, everyone is going through stuff.
Exactly.
The difference is how we deal with that.
Mm.
And this is how she's going to keep on, explaining to us here. So just let's continue here. They will regret it later when they wake up to reality, and they will not be able to recompose themselves or overcome the terrible situations in which they find themselves. The physical body is always a divine blessing for the miracle of evolution in its complexity. It imposes special needs and situations that must be managed wisely by the spirit, which is not always lucid, but intuitively does know how to behave just by complying with the law of love. So here, people that are, just focusing on having a good time and avoiding through so many different meanings, the pains of life, and not dealing with the responsibilities that they have to deal with. Of course, they are wasting a very important opportunity. Life is for that. It's the school that we need to go to quizzes, tests, right? to to learn and to go on. So this is, and when we look back, even today, we don't need to be in the spirit realm to, spiritual realm to think about it. How much we regret, things that we did or didn't do. And that if we could go back a few years, we would change. Right, we would have done more or done differently. And so, oh my God, I had an opportunity and it escaped, right, because I didn't pay attention to that. So you are called to free yourself from the corrupting passions. You are the heir of primitivism, and it's the fluent fixations from the time you have traveled its long, slow course. You must strive to climb to a higher rung of the symbolic Jacob's ladder in your process of spiritual transcendence. Prepare yourself for what you must accomplish and ponder your journey often. You are not on it by chance, but by necessity due to the principle of growth toward God. Accept the painful circumstances as well as the benign ones, and lean on the call to be free. Never abandon the struggle. You have already succeeded at traveling a long stretch of the illuminating pathway, and reason impels you towards the great light. Weariness from doing good is always better than fatigue from libertinism, ambition, ambition, and the demands of exhaustive vices. Very few people toil to exhaustion in the harvest of delight without complaining. You are marked by a heavy burden in the economy of immortal life, which calls for urgent reparation. So let's see here things that she's talking about, the purpose of our reincarnation. Again, we come from times that if we could see clearly what we've been doing so far, we would be truly ashamed. And but the purpose is not that. The purpose is not for us just to stay on the shame or the guilt. The purpose is for us, to understand the possibilities that we had, and what is done. But now I'm the one that is going to be paving my future, so I have to be focusing on that. I should be focusing on that, and like she says here, we have already walked a long stretch. She's not just talking about this life that we are having now. She's talking about the others. We are going into the right direction. The difference here is how much can I expedite my process, right? And we can. And one of the things is, by having understanding, because negative emotions in relation to our difficulties, the adversities that we are going through is not going to happen to help us. And the thing is, here, Joanna de Angelis is not saying, and I'm not saying that we are not going to feel the pain, that we will say, okay, give me some more. The medicine is bitter, but I can handle more. It's not about that. Okay, it's hard, it's difficult, it's blood, sweat, and tears, right? But we have hope, we have an understanding, and this should be enough to keep us going, even if sometimes we go in slow motion, right? It's like, oh, all right. But we have to go, and thank God we always have fraternal souls that can help us in this path, right? But this is what she's talking about now. Now is the time that we are dealing with a heavy load, a heavy burden. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be this way. Any comments or questions? Okay. If you turn the direction of your thoughts to the landscape of the spirit world, thinking about charity. Sorry, my throat is. If you turn the direction of your thoughts to the landscape of the spirit world, thinking about charity, your forces in the fierce battle will become roses distributed by your hands, which you leave on the winding path you have traveled. Take a deep breath and thank God for your weariness, which for the moment protects you from the madness and tediousness that urge you to abandon your inner renewal. All those who have reached the summit of the mountain have overcome the valleys and chasms of the climb. Oh, this is so beautiful, right? Because now she's giving us a direction. She's talking about us, looking at others as well. And like you said, Zoraida, I mean, you have your struggles, but then there's someone that comes to you in spontaneity and just tells you that. And and it was beautiful that you offered her a sympathetic ear, and stop to say her words and not just dismiss it her as some people could have done. Right, that's why she went to the right person. And I mean, this is charity. It's not, big things. Sometimes we think, oh my God, I have to open an orphanage, or go to Africa or this or that. No, it's it's right there in like when you say, when you're leaving the building, you're taking an elevator, or it's right there. And we can do something. And here she says, and everything that we are going through, in a way, not only helps us in this process of growing, of thinking about ways of surviving, but at the same time it keeps us busy, not to get ourselves into much more troubles. And because sometimes idleness may lead to not so good actions. And when we are dealing with certain restraints, it will help us not to aggravate even more our situation. And like she says here, don't think that there are, people that have reached the summit of the mountain without going through that as well. It is the path of every created spirit. Any comment or question? You are involved in a vigorous activity that is in full swing. Do not complain about the liberating endeavor, persisting despite your weakness, as the Apostle Paul pointed out, certain of the final victory. Blessed are all those who grow weary and the fulfillment of their duty, for the compensations of peace and joy are unprecedented. Dreams and illusions offer deceptive joys and seem magical in their fantasy colors. Reality, however, is always severe, because on it are built the foundations of the yearned for happiness. The relative gratification of pleasure is very fleeting, like that of the narcotic that eases the pain but does not eliminate it. The effect soon passes and the affliction returns. The ideal always involves eradicating the cause of the problem in order to exclude and avoid its harmful effects. So the word here is go ahead. Persist. Keep on doing good. Remember that sometimes people say, "Oh, I've been doing good to this person, and I have received no no praise at all." It's not for that we do good. We do good because of us. We do good things that are going to make us feel good, that are going to help us liberate from everything that can delay our process of spiritual growth. And regardless of how we are accepted or understood in the world, many people, I'm sure you deal with people that do not understand your commitment, do not understand your reaction. Oh, my thank God that person said that to you. How come you didn't say anything back, right? Or maybe they don't say it, but they think. And you can see that they are thinking that they would like, the primitive self to prevail, because this is the way I act. If there is someone that is able to refrain this kind of action, that means that I have to do that as well, and I'm not willing to do it. So it's always hard for the ones who cannot yet go and repeat the same kind of behavior. And then they will come to you, if I were you, right? I would do this and this and that. But if they were really you, they would know things better. And this is the reason why you are not doing it. So this is what Joanna de Angelis is saying here. Regardless of how difficult, how tiring it may be, we have our duties. We have to keep on going. Like I said, sometimes, to climb this mountain, it is going to be really hard. It's not only about the climbing, but sometimes the weather is really bad, right? Around that aggravates everything, but we have to endure, even if we have to stop for a moment, because stopping doesn't mean giving up. It means being conscious of the possibilities you have at hand. And sometimes we have to, let the torment passes. I don't need to be brave and just, face the storm. I can wait. I can regain my force without stepping back from it. This is another kind of wisdom that we have to recognize when we have to take a break in terms of our actions, to reason well, because sometimes we are so swallowed by the circumstances that we may not be thinking well. This is when we stop for a moment, for hours, for a couple of days, and try to regroup, and then wait for a bit better conditions and continue on our march. Any comments or questions?
And it's beautiful what you just said about the stop. And it's when you stop is when you get more energy to continue, using the analogy of the mountain, because sometimes you want to go and climb, it's like 2 hours walking, but you need to stop a little bit. You need that water from the fountain, just to refresh. And okay, well, maybe that situation is not like that. Maybe if I go around, I'm gonna be able to be on the top. And it's really important, that moment, because if we go and react and no, I'm gonna force, and maybe we're gonna have a exhaustion, or we won't be able to be on the top of the mountain. It's nice.
Yeah, you said something interesting as well, because sometimes we put in our heads that this is the way, and then you come to a point that you say, like you're saying, I don't know if I'm going to make it, but we are so stubborn in thinking that's the only way to do it. And no, maybe there is another way. There is a different path, and we have to, to think about it. While you were saying that, I was thinking about that saying, slowly but surely, and I was thinking about the fable of the turtle and the hare, right? It's not about how fast you go, because you can just spend all your energy, and because I'm strong, because I can deal with that. But we are underestimating you know, how our bodies and our minds can actually do at a certain point, and so it's very important for us to think about. When again, just to be clear, when we say stop, it doesn't mean to complain, to say, oh my God, everything is so bad with me, or I don't even know if there is a God anymore, or everything that I've been doing was a waste of time. No, this is not the stop. Okay, the stop is saying, is acknowledging the situation and saying, now is the moment where I have to think and about everything that I know, everything that I understand, and maybe, you know, like very much like the GPS, recalculate, falling, you know, getting into a different route that may be not that fast, but maybe even more beautiful, right? Instead of going through the highways, we go to the small roads full of flowers. It's going to take longer, but maybe this is what we need, to take a deep breath and just go. Okay. So let's read it. Climb the mountain of evangelical sublimation and bear your cross of redemption with the certainty of finding the infinite when you reach the top of the climb. Do not look back, just aim at the goal of plenitude. This does not look back is very, very important here. It's what we were talking about before, you know, about ideas of wasted time. When I stop to think, oh my God, how much time I wasted. I'm wasting time now, you know, thinking about it, and blaming myself for it. Right? It's not about it's not about that. We are going to take a glimpse of the situation that definitely is stored here in our spirit, in our minds, and we just go. We just go. Oh, and like we said before, you need to take a different route. Go ahead, go take a different route, as long as you maintain in yourself the same principles, the same values. Any comment or question? Oh, it was faster than I thought at first, because it was a long lesson. There's a lot of things for us to think about here in this lesson. And I think the way she presents this, and you know, especially in this book, The Empty Lives, and recognizing the difficulties, the suffering that we are going through, and all this this path and this transition. But at the end, you know, sometimes we think, oh my God, this is such a difficult subject, but it's a necessary one for us to deal with, for us to meditate about, and to develop more compassion as well in relation to ourselves and to others. It is part of our process. There is a reason that is not just to make amends, but it's a process of learning. Is you know, the struggles that a student have to go year after year. The more, you know, we learn, the more difficult the new lessons are going, more complex they are going to be, right? And in this process, it's just a matter of us being good students. What a good student, or what a student has to do to become a good student, to apply oneself. And I cannot just say, I'll manage, right? I'll manage. I will try to find a way to get good grades. that is not by studying, right? That is not by doing what one has to do in order to succeed. And there is no possibility in the process of life. And the only this straight path is to do what we have to do. And fortunately, each time more, the more incarnations we go through, the more we learn, the more we get stronger, and we already know what to avoid in our journey. It's very much like when you're going to travel for the first time to a different country, and you don't know what to pack. And then we pack so many things, right? That becomes a burden, because then your luggage are so heavy, and sometimes almost none of everything that you brought is useful in this new country. And what do you do next time you have to do it? You are going to think twice, and it's still not necessarily you're going to pack right, but each time more we are going to learn how to do that, and how to succeed, how to not carry unnecessary burdens, not focusing on things that are not going to help us facilitate our journey. I mean, it's just a metaphor, but just for us to think about it. And the grudge that we carry with us, that puts us in a bad mood, and may easily lead us to dismay in situations when the storm come. Oh my God, the storm! Why the storm? Everything is so hard already. So this the attitude that she's asking us to follow for our own benefit is, don't complain, just persevere. Okay. Any questions, comments? No? Okay.